Okay. So I just want to. I want let me deviate for a little bit. So you see, the 20th president of Liberia, William Richard Tolbert Jr., took office in 1971. From 1971 to 1980, and something happened. We should be aware that Tubman went for medical treatment, and then he passed. But when he passed, before Tubman left, he left the country in charge of J. Rudolph Grants, and then while away seeking medical attention, he passed. Now it says that at that time, Tubman was the vice president, right? But at the time of Tubman passing, Tubman was all the way in Belafani. Can you guys hear me, Buster?
I'm hearing you. Yeah, we are hearing you.
Okay. So I said Tubman was all the way in Belafani, like 200 miles from Monrovia. So something almost happened there, you know? And on July 23rd, that when J. Rudolph Grant received that message, he received a telegram, back in the days, it wasn't like how we can just use phone call, you call on WhatsApp or Messenger or what have you. But when Rudolph Grant received that message, Wato was all the way in Belafana, were way 200 miles away from the capital. That's a long ride. Even on a paved road like in the US, that is very long. Imagine in Liberia at that time, driving from Belfast to the capital. Something Rudolph Grant wanted to do. Rudolph Grant wanted to seize the opportunity to take over. But then McKellen Deshee, who was the postmaster general, referred the party to the Constitution. And because of that, William Richard Tolbert Jr. was president. He was the 20th president of Liberia. But when Tolbert became president, I just gave just a little brief, history of what occurred before Tolbert became. When Tolbert became president, he decided to breach the divide. You know, Tolbert decided to breach the divide. During Tolbert administration, I know like the original Manjan, in the 1940s, his grandfather was the only um, representative at the time. Can you imagine? The entire House of Representatives, one indigenous. Even though I still have a problem with people. Right now, we don't even have a miracle Liberian because everybody intermarry. So you don't have a seasoned miracle Liberian right now. But that's a topic for another day. You know.
Thank
But
you.
I'm saying that to say, after he served William Vacanera Shadrach Totman for 19 years, you know, he was unpopular, you know. Probably some people saw him as insignificant at the time, but when he became president, he decided to bridge the divide, you know, get the traditional leaders to amalgamate them with the few American Liberians. American Liberians were like 3%, less than 3%, you know? So during that regime, Liberia thrived just from 71 to 80. Things were good. I mean, I wasn't born when he took over. It was many years after I was born, but did research. I did research. I watched documentary. During Tolbert administration, Liberia were exporting crawfish to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? To
Mm-hmm.
Japan, the great Japan today.
Mm-hmm.
Then I begin to ask myself, what went wrong? What went
Mm-hmm.
wrong? Because from 1980, everything started to decline. Everything started to decline.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we had leaders who were inexperienced.
Very good.
We had leaders who were
Very good.
inexperienced.
Very good.
And they had to learn on the job.
Very good.
And apart from learning on the job, they had the key is like you hire. I'm struggling. You hire me today. If I don't have law for country, I will try to settle myself before I start to think about the people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what most of these guys did. And then corruption became epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you put 13 individuals on the pole and executed them before the world. For what? You say rampant corruption.
Good.
And then the government that executed those 13 people for rampant corruption became more corrupt than the government, the previous government.
They put it on steroid. They put corruption on steroid.
I know, you know,
Yeah, I
and
feel you.
since that from that time up to now, like corruption has been like business as usual. You know, when you fire this minister from one, you take him from one ministry, you pull him to another ministry. You know, and these are the problem with. Look at Rwanda. Rwanda went through a genocide. And if you follow the history, a lot of people died in Rwanda. Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame was a rebel leader.
Mm-hmm.
But go to Rwanda today. Rwanda is if not the cleanest, one of the cleanest country in Africa. And one of the developed country in Africa. In a short space of time. Rwanda has developed. And people watching this program, go and read, watch documentary. Documentary can make it easy for you now. Go and watch documentary on the Rwandan war and the development because the leader Paul Kagame had a developmental mind and he had principles that he led by. I'm not telling you he's faultless. Every human being has a fault. If I tell you say he's faultless, I will be deceiving you. But because of his mindset, Rwanda is what it is, where it is. The boy I was talking, who the little boy that his mom was crying, he passed. I mean, he died in Cali Hospital. That child was supposed to go to Rwanda for school, the Adventist University in Rwanda. A lot of Liberians are going to Rwanda for education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Liberia was once the bedrock of Africa. Liberia served as a safe haven for all of the freedom fighters for most of the freedom fighters of Africa. What went wrong? The oldest republic in Africa. What went wrong? It saddens me that when we go back home, a small country in Liberia that is just about the size of Minnesota. I think Minnesota is even bigger than Liberia. You have the masses are struggling. Look at the drug epidemic. The crime rate is high. Just the other day, the prisoner were they were disturbing that post market because they were not being fed good food. But you have one individual budget $5 million. You want to tell me say the Liberian boy no that the speaker budget is 5 million? What are they doing? I'm not telling them there should be an uprising, but what are they doing for one individual budget to be $5 million? That is too exorbitant. It's way for a country like Liberia, where a police officer struggles to make ends meet. A police officer who is in charge of the security of the state struggle to make ends meet. I don't endorse corruption. And I don't believe either that you can eliminate corruption in the world, because even in the great United States there's corruption. But you can minimize corruption to a larger extent. People must be penalized not because of a political affiliation, but because of their deeds. Look at the COVID-19 crisis that was going on. The health minister was accused of having ghost locations just because they wanted to squander money all over the country. And you know one thing we're good at as Liberians, we make noise about it, in, and then after a while everything will just die down, and that thing will continue. We can't continue to do the same thing and expect different results. We can't continue. Let's look at the Capitol building burning. It, if it was arson, an individual walked in there and put that building on fire. I'm just giving a scenario. I'm not saying it's a fact. Because if an individual walked in there and put that building on fire, that individual must be an ally to either an individual or a group, one of the either the majority or the Kofa block. And if you find out that individual is living a substandard life, but that individual
Mm-hmm.
put his or her life on the line for someone who makes 5 million, who has a $5 million budget.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
destroy one of Liberia's pride. You cost more money. You cost more taxpayer money to be spent on your selfish endeavor. These are some of the and then we'll make noise about it, and then we'll just let it be. Liberia has rubber. Liberia has gold. Liberia has iron ore. Liberia has timber. Liberia has vast land that we can do farming, and we can be self-sustainable. And I'm sure that's the avenue. Hold me for that. Hold me responsible for my own statement. I'm sure that's the avenue William Richard Tolbert Jr. was trying to explore about the Liberian people. Say, oh, they carry the rep. Why must we rely on on China or America to we live on exportation of rice from outside for us to eat when we
If I
can
say
grow
we're not
our
eating
own
the
food?
We're not eating Busawa again with the good rice from America. Talk about time. Listen, we rice to come from here. We're eating the rice from India.
Yeah.
India,
Can you
the
imagine
rubber
that?
rice, the water
Can you
rice,
imagine
rubber
that?
rice, that the one we're eating now.
Can
Not
you
even good
imagine that?
rice. Our country
You
rice
know,
better. Our country rice way better than some other rice we
the
bring in.
country rice. Look, the country rice is rich.
Yes.
Is rich in nutrients
Look,
and
and
vitamins.
Yep.
when you leave from here, when you leave from here, and when you eat that country rice, you feel so good.
But man, yeah, the only thing we should eat in our house, oh, the one with red and white. You know what? When you see the white, get
That's
it
Yeah,
that's
pale
it right
white
there.
with the
yeah,
red.
yeah.
Especially
That one we
Don't
eat
especially
in
the
our house.
don't
ones those
yeah,
ladies would put in that mortar and beat it,
Yeah,
sift it
yeah.
up, fan it
Lib-
up.
But
It
Liberians,
is refined.
Liberians are unique people.
I want to add something to you, yeah, to what you said. I'm gonna
Yeah,
continue up about this rice business. The whole rice business was a lie they sold to the Liberian people. I
yeah,
can remember I grew up, I say I was born in Logan Town, I grew up there. Okay. The man you talk about Tolbert brought in a company called Agremico. Okay. It was an Israeli company. They were operating in Lofa, Cape Man, and Bomi. And they were producing huge number of rice, locally produced rice. So Tolbert saw it in 1978. He set up a program. He said by 1980, we'll not be importing rice. So now, the Formula, the Bacchus Matthew, the Tipote,
The clear to
they
water
came
scene.
and they came and misled the Liberian people, saying the man said after 1980 you will not get no more rice and stage a demonstration. Whereas, yeah, Liberia was now producing huge number of rice. So Toba was saying the millions we send of our foreign reserve to buy rice to bring it for you, we'll take that millions of reserve now to build more housing estate from mat to mattress, okay? To build more schools, to build more things. So we will stop importing rice, okay? Let me tell you, I'm guilty. We used to stay at the Logina Cinema because they happen to Kobo shop behind there. And the truck used to park there to pick up the Agremico workers, and carry them to
yeah,
Bomi and Cape. But they used to come from the Kobo shop. Soon in the morning while we're going to school, the cathedral, and thing, they got to eat in the Kobo waiting for the truck. So when waiting for our car to go to school, the bus car, we used to be calling the papi there. Kobo, 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 Kobo. That the Agremigo workers. I'm sorry, I'm guilty. Yeah, I'm just be frank. I'm guilty of that. When they used to be coming to the bombing clay side, the Cape Man side, no other for the in the trucks. But we used to call the workers in the 70s Kobo. We laughing at them. But we should still be dancing with Thomas on 1980 no rights. I'm a victim. Okay. Total involvement for higher heights. Okay. Mat to mattress. We Labrador have not had a visionary leader since Tolbert. Since Tolbert, we have not had a visionary leader. We've
I
had
agree with
leaders,
you.
but not visionary leaders. Okay. Like I just want to add to that rice issue. The Liberian people have been sold a bunch of bull for years. Okay. And one of the greatest things they have been sold is the country conquer divide. And since we have the platform, we address it.
Yeah,
We address it.
let me buttress on something that
Not right now.
Vafi did talk about.